What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of something in the underground. The August Underground. Let's get into it. So yes, August Underground just released again on Blu-ray and DVD from Unearthed Films. I just got a copy sent out to me by MVD Entertainment to do a review of. Thank you very much for sending that out to me. This is a movie that has been talked about in many circles for a very long time. Now, this came out in about 2001 and 2002-ish kind of time frame. Really got more notoriety probably the year after that it released, but it was one of those films that was at the tail end of a generation of films that was going mainstream, kind of like I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream, these types of movies that in some people's opinions didn't really have that much bite. So a man named Fred Vogel, who wrote and directed this film, decided to put together one of the most depraved serial killer movies that he had ever seen. And he got pretty fucking close, I'd say, as you watch two serial killers videotape all of their fun toys of human beings being murdered, cut up, tortured, sexually assaulted, and fecalated. Yeah, I think that's a word. Anyway. Now, I've seen some reviews online that think they're pretty badass and thought, this is nothing, you know? Well, you know, this was back in 2001. You know, we really didn't get to see all that many films that really kind of pushed the boundaries. And in a lot of ways, this kind of has that sort of shot on video sort of feel to it, because it is sort of shot on video, even though they downgraded this film like 5 different times on tapes and, you know, basically to make this movie look as a snuff film as much as possible. Fred Vogel even went on to say in some of the extras in this that he wanted to make a film that would make a serial killer look like this monstrous thing, because a lot of those serial killer movies that came out that were about these people who did actual murderous, monstrous, disgusting fucking things to human beings weren't really all that scary or that fucking intense. So he set out to make this film that would do it. Now, I'm going to give you kind of my opinions or review of this movie. There really is no spoiling the film. I mean, there are moments in the film that you will see that might spoil it, so I will keep that spoiler free. But I'm pretty much just going to give you kind of my opinion on it, whether or not I enjoyed this film or if it's something that you might want to see and pick up. So I'm going to get into that first, and then we'll get into the extras that are found on this Blu-ray DVD combo that you can pick up from Unearthed Films and MVD and a few other places. I'll put links all down below, but just, you know, we'll do that towards the end of my review. So what is August Underground all about? Well, it's about 2 serial killers that go out, and really the action just picks up instantly. There is no warming up to these characters. In fact, you don't really even get to know their names. You're just thrown into this world of casual serial killings. And when I mean casual, is that this is something that at the time a lot of people didn't really do, and it was like just kind of like, instead of making out the most obvious person in the room that's the killer, like Jason or Freddy or any of those kind of slashers, which is pretty evident that those guys don't belong. These are just regular guys that could live in your neighborhood that, tie women up, men up, cut them up into pieces and make jokes while they're doing it. Play with their fecal matter. I mean, that's pretty much how this movie kind of goes. They go on this sort of gonzo Hunter S. Thompson sort of serial killer trip instead of drug-induced trip that is pretty interesting. Now, this isn't a movie that's going to be for a lot of different people. A lot of people are going to probably want to shut this movie off immediately, and you know, even the director and many people who have seen the film would say, yeah, that's a good thing, because really this is kind of peering into the madness that is a fucked up human being, and so it's not exactly something that you should enjoy. And that's why I say it's not a movie that I enjoyed watching. It is just kind of in your face, and does a lot of violent things that you might not want to see. If you are triggered by torture, sexual assault, fecal matter. This might not be the movie for you. And there is going to be some fucking nudity in there, lots of it, and bottom half, you know, vagina, penis style nudity. And some of those parts actually have like sex scenes or people touching each other's parts and things, so, and intentionally done so to kind of really push the boundaries and do something completely different. You know, there are other films out there that predate this movie that have done things. You know, we've got necrophilia and all kinds of other crazy shot on video films, but this was kind of at a time when, you know, there was a lot of TV shows out there that were doing sort of a reality style TV show thing, and they really wanted to just kind of make something that really kicked the door open. You know, after a lot of those mainstream movies, like I said, Scream and all these like really big budget sort of not so strong features that people would be disgusted by, those movies kind of ushered in like this wave of 2000s movies that really tore up the scene and just really wanted to spit in the face of anything mainstream. And it kind of had the spirit of those, you know, movies from Germany and Olaf Ittenbach and, you know, Necromantic, and, you know, really kind of pushing the boundaries. So it kind of like revitalized that sort of SOV culture in a way that was this underground vibe that was brought back into 2000s in that extreme thing that was going on at that time. You know, we had Hostel and other movies that were mainstream too, but this one just kind of seemed very mean-spirited. It was, I mean, I wasn't really having a great time watching it, but it is really kind of impactful for such a small budget feature. We're talking about a less than $2,000 budget made by a guy who basically was a teacher for Tom Savini's special effects art school. Wanted to make a feature film that he did with some of his students, people he trusted, you know, and he got him to do some pretty wild stuff in this movie. You know, there are some moments in the film that aren't just disgusting, they're just more abhorrent in the sense that they set these scenes up with like them being kind of nice guys, and it slowly devolves into these like really fucked up things. And it kind of makes you feel like, man, I could be that person. And I could be in that situation, and next thing you know, I'm in a fucking basement with a bunch of fucking dudes who are playing with my body parts like toys. You know what I mean? So it's one of those kind of things, and you know, you can call it edgelordy if you want, but I think it's good that we kind of push the boundaries sometimes in films. I mean, is it going to be something that I watch every single night? Yeah, no, not something for me, but it does have its own sort of purpose and meaning, and it's kind of a part of history in that sense. You know, we're talking 20 years ago that this movie was made, and it was doing things that some people have already, you know, outdone perhaps, but this is just one of those movies that kind of has a mark in horror history, and you know, it's not going to be for everybody, but if you wanted to check out and see what some of these crazy guys came up with, and let me tell you, when you watch the behind the scenes and like the stuff about these guys who made this, they're not what you would think. These aren't like messed up individuals. These are people that think this is kind of disgusting. They don't like or think that serial killers should be admired in any way, shape, or form. Like writing letters to Manson, not very cool kind of thing. They made this movie as a glimpse into what real horror in their minds would be. I don't know really what to score this, but this is one of the pioneers, I guess, in some way of this kind of filmmaking. It is a resurgence in some ways to me from that old sort of German wild SOV style. Like, you know, it's really brutal, it's really mean-spirited. There is a lot of like psychological fucked up shit going on in this movie, and the scariest part about it is that this isn't happening in a cabin. This isn't happening, you know, in a lake. This isn't happening in Haddonfield. This is just your regular old next door neighbor that could be a fucking serial killer. If that means that I give this a score, I mean, this is probably like an 8 out of 10 on what it was trying to do. It's not a movie that I like or enjoy. It stands out from the rest of the crowd on an independent level that most people can only dream of. That's what I think about this film. I'm going to jump into kind of the extras on this film, what you can find on the actual footage and everything like that, and what's included in the ingredients of this. So we'll get into that now. So obviously we got the cover here, which I kept the plastic on. You get the slip here, you get the Blu-ray and DVD combo here. This is the newer cover that you can get. It has the Blu-ray over here, and the red one is the DVD. As you can see, there's a lot of duct tape, a lot of torture. They do have a reversible cover that you can put in there if you prefer to have it. This movie has seen so many different iterations of covers. The original film that was sent out to like Rue Morgue magazine was like just a blank tape with like blood splatted all over it, and he sent it out to them, and they were like blown away by this stuff. So it's a really interesting story that Fred will tell you in the extras in here. There is a lot of extras in this. They even mark on the back here, you can kind of see it, but in the yellow there's like little spots that say new, because, you know, there have been many iterations of August Underground, and there are sequels too. There are, you know, there's Mortem, and then there's Penance, and he's done other films obviously since then. So I've never seen those movies. This is actually my first time watching it. I've seen a lot of really fucked up movies, including Traces of Death, which is actually kind of real. And man, holy shit, talk about appreciating life after watching some of this stuff, because it does not leave you with a good feeling. It just makes you seek better things in life and to appreciate the things that you got. But yeah, some of the extras in here you get are a new original screener. This is like the original screener that they used to do the film, so it is a different version. I didn't watch the whole thing. I'll be honest, I wasn't like thrilled about rewatching this movie in any fashion, but you know, that's pretty normal, says the creators of it. They also have a new audio commentary by actor-director Fred Vogel and Ultraviolet Magazine's Art Etner, who they do a commentary on. And then there's also another commentary, which is an older one with Fred Vogel with some of the actors. You got Aaron Labonte and Ben Labonte, who were, I think, the twins in the movie. So if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, the tattoo artist guy. You also get audio commentary by Fred Vogel himself, which is an old one, and an audio commentary by The Killer. So, which is a kind of a fun little take. It's in a character form, so it's interesting. We got a new one that is a 10 questions with Fred Vogel, some of the 10 most popular questions that Fred has actually been asked, and this is where I got a lot of my information about him and like his movie and things. And he really is just a very charming individual, so it's like someone that, you know, really cares about his art. So this isn't just some sick freak guy who's like jerking off to his films and stuff. He really wanted to make an impact in the world and make his own mark, and I think he did, and you'll see that when you see these extras. Another new thing we have is the Toe Tag Masterclass, which is like the storyboards of like the entire film, because they really storyboarded this out. They planned everything that they wanted to put in this film. I'm sure some of the stuff in the film was kind of like on the spot, kind of being silly or being weird. There was a couple of moments in the film that I did laugh, and it, you know, it's just because there's a hammer scene in the film. It's the twin scene that I don't want to mention because I don't want to spoil anything. It kind of made me laugh a little bit. I even showed my girlfriend, who my friend said, don't let her watch it. I think she can hack it. I don't think it's as bad as it may have once been, because we had not seen that many movies, and I've seen movies like Subconscious Cruelty, of course Serbian Film, and things like that too. But I don't know, that scene just made me kind of laugh a little bit. Call me a sick fuck if you like. There's also a new Dave Parker interviews Fred Vogel, and a new Dave Parker interviews Fred Vogel and Mike Watt. Mike Watt is also he's in the film industry as well, but he's also a writer for Pennsylvania Pulp, who was one of the first articles that, you know, was written about Fred Vogel's August Underground. And he really, there's like this admiration between the two of them, even though you know, Mike would probably tell you that he just doesn't even like the film at all, and he has no qualms saying that whatsoever, because, you know, it's not meant to be a movie you enjoy. It's meant to fuck you up. It's meant to make you feel disgusted after you watch it. There's also a new revisiting of infamy. Severed Cinema interviews Fred Vogel. There's Hammered to a Head, a closer look at August Underground, which is sort of made around the time that he put this out, because I think there's been like a DVD that was put out, and there's some of these extras have been on the DVDs that have been put out before by Toe Tag, because Toe Tag is the company that Fred Vogel had to create, the distribution company, because nobody would distribute this film for him. That gives you any idea. It also has August Underground on location, behind the brutality, too real for comfort, an outsider's perspective, an introduction by Fred Vogel, which kind of explains like what he wanted to do with this film. And this is like early on stuff. There's a photo gallery and also trailers. And I think everything that I just mentioned is pretty much on the DVD features, minus a few things. There are a few things that were cut out because the Blu-ray obviously has more space. This isn't like a master, like a remaster or anything like that. It's going to be in the same downgraded 5 times quality that you would see the film. So, but yes, this is totally, you know, an Unearthed Films kind of release. You know, it feels at its heart, this is exactly what Unearthed started out as, and Toe Tag has been a part of for many years now. And you know, I think it's a great release. If you're into these kind of things, I'm sure they're probably gonna start releasing the other ones out. I think I heard something about that, but I could be wrong. Thank you, MVD, for sending this out to me. If you guys are interested, I'll have links all down below to pick up a copy wherever you feel comfortable picking it up. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And of course, we got more on the way, guys. More reviews of new movies coming out on VOD, maybe in the theaters. I'm trying to get out to the theater more, so just hang tight with me. It is a little difficult right now, but I do appreciate all of your support, and thank you so much for coming by to check out this video. Please share it with somebody that you know, and hit the like and the subscribe button if you've never been here before. You know, we do a myriad of different things on this channel, and I love to cover all of it, whether it's, you know, the sickest or the funniest, or, you know, just in other countries. I like to watch all types of horror. So thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the void.